The walls that once echoed Clara's power now whispered something else. It started quietly, a misplaced letter, a hushed phone call, a name she didn't recognize on her husband's lips. The mansion she had once ruled with elegance and authority was changing, but this time, not by her hand. Richard had grown distant. His health was failing, his strength fading, and though Clara stood beside him in every meeting, every photo, every public smile, his eyes had begun to search for something she could no longer give peace. In the morning, he stood at the window without speaking. She'd ask softly, "Are you thinking of work?" But he wouldn't answer, and in that silence, Clara felt something she hadn't felt in years. Uncertainty. Then came the whispers. The wives, the ones she thought she'd silenced, now gathered behind closed doors, their voices low but determined. The same women who once feared Clara now spoke her name like a curse they were ready to lift. But she ignored it. She had always thrived on control. She believed that no one could move against her, not after everything she'd built, not after the empire she had molded in her image. But one night, as she entered Richard's study, she found him staring at her, not with admiration, but with exhaustion. He said her name softly, Clara, just her name, but it carried a weight she had never heard before. Then came the words that cut deeper than betrayal. "I don't recognize who you've become." For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Her mind raced, her heart pounding in a rhythm she could no longer control. She smiled, a pretentious one, and said, "You've changed too, Richard." But even she could hear the tremor in her voice. That night, she stood alone in the grand hallway, beneath the portraits of the wives before her. Their faces weren't soft anymore. They looked satisfied, as though they'd been waiting for this moment. The next morning, Richard collapsed during a meeting. The mansion was thrown into chaos. Doctors came and went, and Clara, ever composed, stayed by his bedside, holding his hand, whispering comfort that no one believed. The wives watched from a distance, their silence thick with judgment. They didn't need to say it. They believed she had drained him, his life, his spirit, his will, and in her heart, Clara began to wonder if they were right. She stood at the window of her room that evening, the sun bleeding gold across the horizon. Her reflection stared back at her, still beautiful, still flawless, but somehow hollow. She whispered to herself, "I wanted to be remembered." Then, softer, "Not like this." The house no longer bowed to her. The servants no longer rushed to greet her. And the silence that once made her powerful now made her small. Power had been her kingdom. Her empire was crumbling from the inside, but she didn't know it yet. The revenge that would shatter her world had already begun to move in the shadows. Stay tuned and subscribe to my YouTube channel.